Hello! What's up? So today I wanted to talk about, you know, if there isn't companies to work for, because since companies create jobs, then what's the point of free university or free education or high education, right? Because I was just thinking, in my country, Colombia, of course, like everybody wants like free education, free this, free that, blah, blah, blah. Like free education, free college, free university, right? But, there's a dilemma here, right? There's a dilemma here, which is, this country is horrible for entrepreneurs. Like, if you want to start a business, there's so much there's so much taxes, dude. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much you're paying. It's like really hard to make it like from what I've heard and from like what I've read. There's like a bunch of taxes that we have to pay to the government in order to like open a business and have them, right. And this country doesn't really what's it called? They don't really flourish. They don't really allow like startups or businesses to like flourish because you know what I'm trying to say is that first there's barely any jobs in the first place because I've seen so many people that I know, like they finished education, they finished studying, they finished university, college, whatever, and it's like there's no jobs. Or if you manage to get a job somehow, they don't really value your like education, your knowledge, your experience, or your history. They don't acknowledge any of that, right? So it's like what? Like this country's like pretty screwed when it comes to jobs, and it's pretty hard to start a business here as well because like the government doesn't really help you. I mean, you can still, but and when you do start like officially, it's like put a business up. There's like a bunch of these taxes and like it's horrible, right? And recently they're like upping like the minimum wage, which is just making things harder because when like they did something to the minimum wage. I don't know if it was exactly the minimum wage, but they did something. And if getting a job here is hard in the first place, and you do something like that, you can't like hire more people because you simply don't have enough funds, or the people you have hired, you have to fire some of them because you just can't like pay them all like the minimum wage, right? So it's like less jobs but more pay for the ones who get to keep the jobs, which is it's kind of like a dilemma here because like a lot of people try to study and then they go out and they have no jobs, and then like the people who create jobs like businesses, startups, and companies, it's pretty rough out here if you want to start doing that because government, so it's like it doesn't help. The other thing I was thinking about was like university people who have higher education work for companies, but the majority of the people I know who start companies are like dropouts from high school, dropouts, which led me thinking, like what, like people who study work for people who don't study. Now, of course, I'm not saying like everybody, but pretty much like a majority of people I know, like who are entrepreneurs, like these big brands and all this stuff. They're dropouts. Honest, like they're dropouts, or at least some of them are, right? Which is like why people who have higher education work for people who don't have a diploma even, which is like doesn't make sense, but you know that's what I wanted to talk about.